why does God make us go through certain things? Like, why didn't he just make everything laid out for us? Like, why do we have to seek God and pray about something that's going on? I was just watching a video and the lady was talking about something about, like, a principality or a spirit that she had to be delivered from. And it's like, sometimes we as believers, we just think like, well, why does God have to make it this hard? If we believe in him, why can't he just make everything perfect for us? Like, why do if we're believers and we came unto him and we're no longer operating in sin and all of that, why is he making us go through certain situations of having to pray, of having to figure out, oh, this is happening because of this principality or this spirit? Why can't he just all at once dead all of those things? Like, okay, we're believers, we're doing the right thing. Why every situation, like, we gotta be delivered from something, or we have to pray against something? And it's just like, well, why does it have to be like that? It just seems like it makes it harder. Why can't the red carpet just be already laid out for us? Of we decided to stop living in sin and we came over to life. So why do we have to eventually figure out, oh, the reason why this situation is happening is because there's a spirit that's over something, or there's a spirit that's working against you, or a principality that's working against you, so you got to pray and fast to be delivered from it. It's like, well, why couldn't we just be delivered all at once from it? Why do we gotta fast and do all of this extra stuff when it's just like Christ became the curse? Like how it says he was the all-time sacrificial lamb. We didn't have to sacrifice any lambs anymore because he was the one lamb, the one sacrifice. So it's just like, okay, if he's the one lamb, and I'm not trying to question God, so forgive me, Father, but I'm just relaying the message to how sometimes people think and how I thought, how I've been thinking. Like, well, God, if you're the one thing, and I'm just saying this right now because this just came to my mind as far as him being the one-time sacrifice and the one-time lamb. Didn't I just say get down? I took you down 3 times already, and you still don't get the picture that I said stop. So what I'm trying to say is, sometimes in our minds we're like, well, and like I said, this thought about him being the sacrificial lamb and being the one time, sacrifice, and we not having to keep sacrificing lambs and goats and all of this stuff. Why, if he's the all-time sacrificial lamb, why do we have to keep being delivered and praying against this principality? Oh, there's a spirit that came that was sent against us, so now we got to pray against it, or we're walking around with a certain spirit and we got to be delivered from it now. And it's just like, okay, well, why do we got to go through all of this when I've already given my life to Christ? And you get what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't he, just as he was the one-time sacrificial lamb, shouldn't he have removed all of those principalities and powers all at once, one time, so that we don't have to keep coming and praying about those things? We can have a clear walk and without all of these road blockages. And that's my mind. I get angry with that sometimes, and I don't want to be angry with God, but I'm just like, why can't it just be a clean slate? If we, not to say that things are just always going to be easy for us, but I don't know. I guess the answer to that is that we won't seek him and pray if we don't have nothing to deal with. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is, this world is dark, and when we come unto Christ, it's like being in a foreign land. It's like an alien now coming down to earth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really believe in aliens like that. I don't know. I do believe in other creatures and other things. So I don't know. I don't really want to get into situations about what's real and what's not. But I'm just giving a hypothetical example. If an alien came down to earth, they're in a different territory. So the things that they faced or dealt with, or, they might have had it easy up in space. And they come down to earth and it's like, whoa, all of this stuff is just weird. All of this stuff we got to go through, how we got to get our food now is different. And, it might be more difficult for them down here. And this is just hypothetically speaking. So it's the same way how when we come over to Christ, we are now a new we are now a new creature. And just as Christ was not of this world, he came down from heaven like an alien coming down to earth. But of course he's greater than any alien, but you get what I'm saying. So he came down from heaven to earth. So he had to operate in the earth's how can I say, the earth's I don't want to say armor, but he had to put on a new outfit, but still remain. I heard someone say this before, and I think it was Joshua Selman. Yeah, it was Joshua Selman. He said, as a believer, you have to wear the regalia of a wolf, but still remain as a sheep in your heart. Remain still surrendered to the Lord, knowing that you walk against wolves, being wise as a serpent and gentle as dove, making sure that you're armored up in the spirit of God and in his armor, wearing, again, the regalia of a wolf. So, but still remaining pure in your heart. Like, of course, you ain't going to be out here doing crazy stuff, like, doing stuff that, criminals do and stuff like that. No. But sometimes wisdom, like how it says, in the violent shall take over the kingdom. The kingdom suffereth violence, and the violent shall take over the kingdom. And I'm paraphrasing that, but that just means that sometimes you gotta be thugged out as a Christian, but not in a worldly manner, in a spiritual manner. For instance, again, Christ was thugged out. And he spoke the truth. He was bold. He was courageous. He was thugged out. Because your real thug in the earth realm is bold. They're courageous. You get what I'm saying? But the criminal in the earth who is bold and courageous and does what he wants is still a criminal at heart. But the Christ-centered person in Christ who was bold and courageous can be bold and courageous and take over territories and be bold and step in faith and not let nobody bring them down, but they still remain as a sheep pure in heart, because they're not over here knocking people's heads off. They're telling you to your face, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Satan, get behind me. Stuff he's walking as a gangster, but he ain't knocking niggas' heads off. When Peter went to cut the soldier's ear off, he was like, nah, Peter, don't do that. And he restored his ear to him. So it just shows that as a believer, you can be violent spiritually. And the violent spiritually don't look like the violent of a criminal of this world. It just means boldness. It means courage. It means walking with the knowledge of who you are. Walking by faith. Walking in boldness. Walking in truth. Knowing that there's nothing that can overtake you. Being a gangster. Being a gangster Christian. Meaning being a thoroughbred. Being a G in a spiritual realm don't look like how it is in a physical realm. So all I'm trying to say is, I don't know where I was going with that, but all I'm trying to say is, if we didn't go through certain things, there wouldn't be a need for Christ. And it was something else I was getting to, but I forgot, because I just went in on that one subject, so I forgot. But all I'm trying to say is, what it looks like for a Christ-like person versus a worldly. We came from darkness to light. So Christ came down from heaven. We came from darkness to light. Okay, Christ came down from heaven. So the same transition that he went through, we're going through. We're going through a whole transition. He had to come down here as pure and holy, and he's the purest and holiest. So he had to come down here as pure and holy as he was, in his holy cloak, And he had to come in his holy cloak, but wear the regalia of a wolf, and remain pure in heart and a sheep of God. Okay? So as he did, so as he was in the world, so are we. So we got to do the same thing, because now we're transitioning. When we come into Christ, we're transitioning from dark to light. He transitioned from light and entered into darkness, but still carry the light. We're coming out of darkness and entering into his marvelous light. So it's a difference, but God is still doing the same thing. He's still making us as his light in this dark world, as Christ was. Even though we came from out of the darkness into his light, and Christ came from light into darkness and still remained light. We're coming out of darkness and into his light, and now we're appearing as light in the world as he was light in the world. So now as he walked, we gotta walk. So the same stuff that he went through, we have to go through. And when you're an alien to the world, be not of this world. You live in it, but don't be of it. So being that we're aliens to this world now as believers, there's certain things that we have to go through. Just like he had to go through certain things. He had to cast out demons and cast out sicknesses. And he said, greater works will we do. So God, even Christ himself, God himself, came down and said, we will do greater works than he did. Greater works you will do. Because Christ had an appointed time and then he left. But now he put his spirit in us. So now he's doing the works through us. And he's sitting at the right hand of God. So what I'm saying is, we wonder, oh God, why couldn't you just let it just be everything okay once we became a believer? Like, let everything be removed, every principality, every ruler, every darkness, every spirit. Why are we still dealing with spirits and shit and principalities? And it's just like, well, God is saying, I had to do that too. I had to go through that too, because I came from light. I came from heaven down to earth, which is not my neighborhood. And I had to maneuver through it and remain as a sheep, remain pure in heart, and step in faith and walk over this obstacle and step over this principality and stronghold and rebuke the demon and the devil. And because there's no demons and devils in heaven, but they are on this earth. So if you're coming down from heaven and you're a heavenly creature, you know what the principalities and rulers are. Yeah, but you ain't dealing with that up in heaven. So Christ had to come down and deal with all of this stuff so that he could show us that you got to deal with that too, and you can deal with it, because I did it and my spirit is within you. So I had to deal with it, and you got to deal with it too. And you might even have to deal with greater, because you had more time on this earth than I did physically. Meaning we have more time on this earth than he did physically, because he's back up in heaven and he will return soon. But he had an appointed and a limited amount of time on this earth and what he had to do. And the work is finished. But although the work is finished, we still got to go through these things and erase what was done from our ancestors, erase what was done from the things that were implanted in this world through wickedness and through sin of Adam. We have to, it's us making this world new. Because when the children of God rise up and do what they're supposed to do, and I'm not trying to talk like I got everything together, so don't even think it. I'm still on this journey, and here I am expressing this to you because I'm going through certain things, like why God had to do this like this, why I got to sit here and fight over this, and it's just like, well, this is so God is giving me insight as I'm asking those why questions, even as I'm speaking right now. So it's just like you're wondering, well, why I got to do this? Why I got to do that? Why can't it just be all good? And it's like, because when the children of God rise up, you are making this world cleaner. Your light that's being shown in this dark place of a world is spreading light to territories. It's spreading light over nations. And eventually the darkness will fade out, because light overcomes darkness. Darkness don't overcome light. Light overcomes darkness. When you in a dark room and you turn that flashlight on, guess what? Papa. Light is making that thing light up. So when we walk as with our torch of light as children of God, and we walk in who we are, and we do what we're called to do, like how Paul had a mission and God told him in a vision, this is what I need you to do. And Paul went and did it. He set light in every area that he went. So if all of the children of God rise up, and the children who are dead and come back to life as far as spiritually, even the dead, but what I'm trying to say is the people who are spiritually dead, when they come back, it's more of us than them. More of us than them with our lights. So don't you think that eventually, because we're spreading light everywhere, that this darkness is going to be turned upside down and offset? It's going to possibly even diminish. So I believe that that's what's happening right now, that the children of God are rising up, and eventually the darkness will be eradicated, and God is going to come once he sees what's done in the earth that needs to be done through us, and what he's doing in us through us. Once he sees that it's ready, that the table is set and the food is ready, he's gonna come and do his finished work. Even though he finished the work, but he's gonna he's gonna come and return and complete everything that he was sent to do. He has already finished the work, so it's already done. But at the same time, it's still, he has to return. And he has to make this earth complete in its newness. So I'm not going to sit here like I know everything, and I know everything that Christ is going to do, but I do know that he's going to return. And all I'm trying to say is, if more people of light rise up, it will eradicate more of the darkness, to where the darkness and the people of darkness will be this small. And like the word says, it's more of us than them. So that's for somebody today. And there's more I can say on that. But I think I'm going to end it here. There's more I can say on that. But I think I'm going to end it here. And what the moral of what I'm trying to say is that you wonder why you got to go through all of this stuff and fight these principalities or whatever. Christ had to do the same thing. And yes, we know that he's the once and all-time sacrificial lamb. So we're like, well, if he's a one-time sacrificial lamb, why can't he just be a one-time eradicate every darkness? And it's like, well, if he did, first of all, he is the eradicator of darkness. So him in you is eradicating darkness around you. At the same time, as a soldier needs to be trained in the army, in the natural army, we have to be trained. So how can we be trained and become more like him in his image if we don't fight the battles that he fought? How can a soldier go on a battlefield if they're not trained? So he fought these principalities and his work is finished. But he has to allow us to fight them too, in order for us to be prepared for his return and being more like him in his image. If we never went through anything, we wouldn't seek him, we wouldn't have a need for him, and we would not be prepared for battle. Just like a soldier in the army. And that's all I'm going to say. And you can also use this to the things that people say, well, why does God allow bad things to happen to good people? Again, we living in darkness. This world is dark. Christ came from a light situation. He had to come in darkness. It's basically like he had to just relearn everything that even though he's God, so he knows everything. But what I'm trying to say is, if you want to give that example, it's like a person coming from a foreign land, learning new things. And, although Christ is all knowing, God is all knowing. But I'm just saying, it's like, I'm not saying it's exactly like, it's like a foreigner, an alien or whatever, coming to another land and having to remain as who they are, but walk amongst all of this darkness. So the situations that's going on down here ain't going on up in heaven. So he had to face these situations, and so will we. And it's not because God is evil and he just, like, why did he let this evil thing happen? No, man is evil. And as Christ works through man, the devil works through man. And the devil has caused people to become corrupt. And Christ is he's causing us to become righteous. So we're fighting good and evil. It's a good and evil fight. And we know that good always wins. At the same time, it's still a fight. It's still a battle. So like I said, this earth is dark because of what Adam did, because of sin, because of man and darkness and evil. And Christ has to reset that thing. He has to reset and turn that light switch back on in the hearts of man to make this thing all light and heavenly. Heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. Hallelujah. In Jesus'